Hey Reddit, I never thought I'd be posting here, but I need to get this off my chest. I'm a 34-year-old guy, and my wife, Sarah, is 32. We've been married for 8 years and have 2 amazing kids, Emma, 6, and Lucas, 4. Up until recently, I had a stable job as a software developer. Unfortunately, due to company downsizing, I was laid off about 6 months ago. It was a tough blow, but I decided to make the best of the situation by taking on the role of a stay-at-home dad while actively searching for new opportunities online. Sarah works as a marketing manager and has a demanding job, often requiring her to stay late at the office. In the beginning, I didn't mind holding down the fort at home. I took care of the kids, managed the household chores, and spent my evenings sending out resumes and working on freelance projects to keep our finances afloat. I wanted to support Sarah in her career, especially since she was now the primary breadwinner. However, over the past few months, I've noticed some changes in Sarah's behavior. She started coming home later and later, often blaming it on urgent projects or last-minute meetings. When she was home, she seemed distant and irritable, snapping over minor things and showing little interest in family activities. I attributed it to work stress and tried to be understanding, but something felt off. One evening, while preparing dinner, Emma innocently mentioned, "Mommy has a new friend at work. She talks about him a lot." I felt a pang of unease but brushed it aside, convincing myself that it was just a harmless colleague. After all, trust is the foundation of any marriage, right? Little did I know, this was just the beginning of a series of events that would turn my world upside down. So after my daughter's innocent comment, I started noticing things. Sarah became increasingly detached, not just emotionally, but physically too. No kisses goodbye, barely a hug when she got home. When I tried to talk to her about how I was feeling, she dismissed it as me being clingy or overly sensitive. She'd get hysterical if I questioned anything, even basic stuff, like why she was 2 hours late or why she suddenly needed to work Saturdays. You don't understand real pressure. I'm the only one holding this family together. Why don't you go get a job and stop nagging me like a child? I didn't push. I just kept doing what I could. I cooked, cleaned, played with the kids, applied for jobs. I even landed a few freelance gigs and was starting to build momentum. I told her I had a few interviews lined up. Her response? "Oh great, so now you'll have an excuse to avoid your actual responsibilities." It stung. But I still loved her. Or maybe I just loved who she used to be. Then came the moment I couldn't ignore. I was using our shared laptop to send out some resumes. When I opened the browser, I noticed she hadn't closed a few tabs. One of them was a private Instagram account. I don't even know why I clicked, gut feeling maybe. But I opened it. It was filled with romantic posts, not with names, but with captions like, "Counting the hours until I see you again kiss mark," and "Best lunch break of my life face blowing a kiss," all posted during her supposed overtime hours. That same night, I got a DM from someone I didn't recognize. A woman. "Hey, I don't know you, but I think you deserve to know your wife is having an affair with my husband. Check the photo I attached." That's her. It was Sarah. Sitting close to some guy. Not touching, but the body language was obvious. My stomach dropped. After seeing that photo and reading the stranger's message, I sat there for what felt like hours. My hands were shaking. I didn't want to believe it, but deep down, I already knew. I replied to the woman, cautiously. "Do you have more proof?" "I'm not accusing anyone yet, I just need to know." She sent me screenshots of text messages between her husband and Sarah. They were explicit. Flirty. Sneaking around. Talking about our little secret and laughing at how clueless I was. It was like getting hit by a truck in slow motion. I didn't confront Sarah immediately. I couldn't, not with the kids around. Instead, I printed everything. Saved the screenshots. Copied the Instagram posts. I needed to process this without her gaslighting me into thinking I was crazy. That night, she came home at 10:40 p.m. I'd made dinner. She didn't touch it. Ugh, why are you still up? You're acting weird. I just nodded and said, we need to talk soon. Tomorrow. She rolled her eyes and muttered something under her breath. Then went to bed like nothing was wrong. The next morning, I dropped the kids off at preschool and came back to find her in the kitchen on her phone, giggling. I sat down across from her and said calmly, I know everything, Sarah. I've seen the messages. The photos. You've been lying to me. She froze. Then, in classic fashion, she exploded. What are you talking about? Why are you snooping through my stuff? That's abuse. You're invading my privacy. No apology. No guilt. Just rage and twisted blame. When I mentioned the woman who messaged me, she went pale. Wait, she told you? That bitch? Her husband was the one who came on to me. You have no idea what I've been through. That was the moment it all clicked. Sarah wasn't sorry. She was only angry she got caught. And I? I was done. After her outburst, Sarah stormed out of the kitchen, slammed the door to our bedroom, and didn't come out for hours. I sat in the living room, numb. No apology. No denial. Just deflection and fury. But I was done playing the understanding husband. I wasn't yelling. I wasn't crying. I was just done. The next day, I met with a lawyer. Quietly. I showed her the evidence, screenshots, the messages from the other woman, timestamps, and even the posts I had recovered. The lawyer just nodded and said, You've got a solid case. Let's get the ball rolling. That night, I told Sarah I'd be filing for divorce. Her reaction? Hysterical. She laughed, literally laughed in my face, then switched gears like a broken actor in a soap opera. You'd throw away everything over one mistake? I sacrificed so much for this family while you were sitting at home in pajamas sending resumes to nowhere. She accused me of trying to punish her for being the breadwinner. Then she screamed that I was ruining the kids' lives and destroying the family. She kept shouting until I told her the lawyer was already involved. That shut her up. And the next bomb dropped the following morning. The woman who had messaged me before, her name was Natalia, reached out again. She told me she and her husband were also getting a divorce. But she added one more detail. Your wife wasn't just seeing my husband. She was talking to at least one other guy. I didn't want to overwhelm you, but I thought you should know. I almost laughed. Somehow, it didn't even hurt anymore. I was past that. I was in rebuilding mode now. After Natalia told me Sarah had been seeing multiple guys, everything started to make sense. The sudden new wardrobe, the gym sessions she never mentioned before, the way she guarded her phone like it was a CIA device. This wasn't a one-time mistake. This was a lifestyle. I didn't tell Sarah what Natalia said. I just observed. Quietly. Coldly. For the first time, I wasn't reacting emotionally, I was documenting, preparing, planning. The betrayal had already gutted me. Now I just wanted out with as little damage to the kids as possible. That week, I met with a child psychologist to ask how best to approach things with Emma and Lucas. I didn't want them tangled in the emotional mess. The therapist gave me a strategy for slowly transitioning their understanding without turning them against their mother, even though part of me felt she didn't deserve that grace. Meanwhile, Sarah started flip-flopping between manipulative sweetness and sudden cruelty. One morning, she made pancakes for everyone, something she hadn't done in years. That same night, she screamed at me for talking down to her, because I reminded her we had a parent-teacher meeting. It was like living with a stranger who kept switching masks. But the next big twist came in the form of a package. I received a manila envelope at our front door. No return address. Inside, printed screenshots of messages between Sarah and another man. Not Natalia's husband, a completely different guy. She was sexting him during work hours, sending him selfies, and even calling him my real escape. And the kicker? One of the photos was taken in our bedroom. While I was in the house. I finally understood, this wasn't about her being unfulfilled. It was about her needing control, attention, validation, at any cost. But now? I had all the ammo I needed. With 3 separate affairs confirmed, my lawyer and I filed the divorce papers immediately. No more waiting. I served her at home, right after dinner, when the kids were watching cartoons. She opened the envelope, flipped through the pages, and just stared. Then she laughed. "You think this scares me? You won't survive 5 minutes as a single dad. I'll have the kids, the house, the car, everything. You're broke and pathetic." Her words didn't sting like they used to. I just said calmly, "We'll let the court decide that." I had evidence. Witnesses. A timeline. I'd quietly updated our joint finances, set up my own bank account, and already started seeing traction with my freelance work. I wasn't broke, not anymore. Then came the next unexpected twist. Sarah's boss called. Yeah, her boss. Apparently, someone, I'm guessing Natalia, sent the company everything. Screenshots. The Instagram account. Even a voice memo of Sarah talking trash about her job while at a bar with one of her guys. Sarah got called in for a review, and came home fuming. "You did this. You've been sabotaging me." I hadn't. But I didn't stop it either. The woman who used to scream about being the one holding the family together was suddenly unemployed. And for once, I wasn't the one scrambling. She stayed out that night. Didn't say where. I didn't care. The next morning, I texted her. "Please pack your things by the weekend. You can stay with your sister or a hotel. The kids and I will stay here until the court finalizes custody." She replied with one word. Asshole. That was the last text she ever sent me. The weekend came, and Sarah did pack, kind of. She stuffed clothes into trash bags, broke a few glasses, by accident, and made sure to slam every door on her way out. The kids were confused. Emma cried. Lucas just clung to me. I did my best to explain things gently, that mom was staying somewhere else for a while, but we'd still see her soon. I hated that they had to go through this, but I knew staying in that toxic environment would have been so much worse. She moved in with her older sister. And from what I heard later, that didn't go well either. Apparently, her sister kicked her out 2 weeks later for being completely unstable and bringing chaos into the house. Sarah had tried to turn her against me, but her sister saw right through it. Karma, served hot. Meanwhile, my life started getting better, shockingly fast. One of my freelance clients referred me to a startup looking for a full-time remote developer. Not only did I get the job, but it came with health benefits and a signing bonus. I was able to stabilize everything, the mortgage, the kids' school needs, even small treats like pizza nights again. And with Sarah out of the house, peace returned like a breath of fresh air. I even started sleeping again. Real, deep, dream-filled sleep, the kind I hadn't had in years. Then, about 3 weeks after she left, she called me. Crying. "I made a mistake. I missed the kids. I miss you. You were the only one who really loved me." I didn't yell. I didn't hang up. I just said. "You loved the attention more than you ever loved me. I was your backup plan. I'm not that anymore. And I hung up. That was the moment I felt it, the first flicker of freedom. After that final call from Sarah, where she tearfully expressed regret, I felt a strange sense of closure. Not because I believed her words, but because I realized I was no longer emotionally tethered to her manipulations. The divorce proceedings moved forward. Given the evidence of her infidelity and her unstable behavior post-separation, the court granted me primary custody of Emma and Lucas. Sarah was given visitation rights, but she rarely utilized them. When she did, her interactions with the kids were superficial, almost as if she was going through the motions. One evening, Emma asked, "Why doesn't Mommy want to see us more?" It broke my heart, but I reassured her, "Mommy loves you in her own way, but sometimes adults have a hard time showing it." Financially, things were stabilizing. My remote job allowed me to be present for the kids, and I even started a side project developing educational software for children. It was fulfilling work, and the positive feedback boosted my confidence. Then, out of the blue, I received a letter from Sarah. Not an email or a text, a handwritten letter. In it, she admitted to her affairs, apologized for the pain she'd caused, and expressed hope that I could one day forgive her. She mentioned seeking therapy and trying to understand her actions. I didn't know how to feel. Anger? Pity? Indifference? I decided not to respond. My priority was the well-being of my children and myself. Weeks turned into months. The kids and I established new routines, new traditions. Friday movie nights, Sunday hikes, cooking experiments that often ended in laughter and messy kitchens. Our home was no longer a place of tension but of love and growth. One day, while at the park, I met someone. A kind, intelligent woman named Laura, who was there with her niece. We struck up a conversation, and over time, a friendship blossomed. I wasn't rushing into anything, but for the first time in a long while, I felt a spark of hope for the future. My life had shifted so dramatically that sometimes it felt like I was waking up in someone else's story, only now, it was a story I liked being part of. Laura and I started seeing each other more often. There was no rush, no pressure. We talked, we laughed, we bonded over our mutual love for quiet bookstores and terrible coffee. She met Emma and Lucas gradually, and with genuine kindness. She never tried to replace anyone, she just showed up with steady warmth. Meanwhile, Sarah's life spiraled. She called a few more times, usually when drunk or angry. Once she begged me to pause the divorce, saying we could still fix things. The next week, she accused me of brainwashing the kids against her. Her emotional instability eventually led the court to require supervised visits. I didn't gloat. I didn't rub it in. I just kept building our life. Part 10. One sunny morning, about a year after it all began, I took the kids on a short road trip to the coast. Just me, Emma, Lucas, and the open road. As we sat watching the waves crash, Emma leaned against my shoulder and said, "Daddy, we're happy now, huh?" I smiled, held her close, and whispered, "Yeah, sweetheart. We really are." The divorce finalized 2 weeks later. I kept the house. I had full custody. I had a job I loved. I had peace. But most importantly, I had myself again.